Hi, my name is Paddy Hirsch. I'm a Senior Editor at Marketplace, and today I want to explain a question that a lot of people have been asking, which is how this, a credit card, gets turned into a bond. Now, this is what's called securitization. What actually happened is that credit cards, or credit card receivables, that's to say credit card debt, and other types of debt, for example, student loans and car loans and home loans, get turned into what are called asset-backed securities. And this is through a process called securitization. So I'm going to write that there. Securitization. And I'm going to use a big Z or a Z, because we're here in Southern California. It's the creation of what's called asset-backed securities. And the reason they're called that is very self-explanatory, is because they are securities. It's to say bonds that can be traded on a market or be traded on the over-the-counter market, one person to another buying and selling. They are backed by an asset. And that asset, as I've said, can be a commercial loan, a student loan, a credit card receivable, a car loan, a home, whatever it may be. And these asset-backed securities are called various things. CLOs if they're collateralized loan obligations, CBOs if they're bond obligations, CMOs if they're collateralized mortgage obligations, and so on and so on. But essentially, let's break it down and talk about this specific one, which is the credit card. So here we have our credit card, and it's a MasterCard, and it's issued by let me see, let's say Citibank. Okay, so here we have a Citi credit card. So how does a Citi credit card receivable get turned into this asset-backed security? What basically happens is there are two parts to the credit card. Once you as a customer come in and get an account with a credit card account. Firstly, there's the account itself, and then there's the debt. That's to say the receivable that you have. So if you run up a debt on your credit card, that's what's called the receivable. Now, what often happens with credit card issuers is they take this debt of all of the people that have got accounts with them. They take the debt and they spin the debt off. They can do that in various ways. They can put it into what's called its own trust. They can actually sell it off to another party. They can put it into like a separate vehicle, but it's essentially it's put into another entity. Okay, and the reason they do that is because it takes the risk, it takes the debt off their balance sheet. And the genius of this is that this credit card company keeps the account, so the annual fee that you pay on the card, the company keeps, but the debt and the interest that's paid on the debt goes off to the other entity. So this other entity, whatever it may be, if it's owned by Citibank or whatever card company this is, or if it's a third party who comes in and buys a bunch of the debt from the Citi account, the balance of their accounts. The point is, it's a separate entity. Now, let's say, for the sake of argument, say that this is a third party who's coming. He's a very smart fund manager, and his name's Dave. All right, Dave's a smart guy. And what he's done is he's gone out to a bunch of investors, and he said to them, guys, lend me a bunch of money, or invest a bunch of money in me. Give me a bunch of money, and I'm going to invest and create an asset-backed security. So these guys all give him, say they give him $1 billion altogether. So Dave's got $1 billion in his bag. And what he does is he's gone out and he's gone to, say, Citibank, and he's bought $1 billion worth of credit card receivables. And what he does is he essentially creates what they call a vehicle. But we're going to call this vehicle, we're going to use a metaphor, and the metaphor is going to be a champagne bottle. All right, so he pops this into the champagne bottle, and there are all these credit card receivables. Now, the great thing about credit card receivables, and this goes for any other type of debt, whether it be a home loan or a car loan or a student loan, every month people pay interest on it. So every one of these little cards, these little credit card receivables, is paying interest every month. And say, for the sake of argument, they're paying 5% interest every month. At the end of every month, once they've all paid, the top comes popping off this champagne bottle, and all the interest comes out. All the interest that's been paid comes out. And what it does is it cascades into what they call a capital structure. Okay, and we're going to have a metaphor for this capital structure, which is going to be a pyramid of glasses, just like you have at a wedding, sitting on this nice silver tray. And this pyramid of glasses equates to the investments that our investors have made. Remember the investors who gave Dave $1 billion? Well, what Dave has done is he's said, all right, in turn for your investments, I'm going to put you into this capital structure, and depending on the amount of risk that you want to take, I will pay you a certain amount of interest. So the top ones, because they're going to get filled up first, because obviously we have all of this interest, this money that comes foaming out of the top of the champagne bottle and into the capital structure, the top glasses get paid first, therefore least risk. So best rating, AAA. Next ones get paid next, slightly less risk, slightly more risk, I apologize, AA. Next, slightly more risk, BBB. And say the bottom one has most risk, so BB. Now you're probably wondering what this tray is. This is called the equity tranche. A number of investors have invested in here, and they basically get what's left over. Now, if everyone's paying on a perfect day or a perfect month, all of these credit card receivables holders, everyone who's got this credit card debt, in a great economy, they all pay the debt, or all pay their interest. These 5% will foam out a massive sort of foaming spume of champagne. It fills up the capital structure, fills up the tray at the bottom, and actually even brooms over the tray. These guys get a certain amount every month because they've got a fixed interest rate. The guys at the bottom, however, get everything that's left over, so they carve it all up. Now, what happens if the economy starts to deteriorate and fewer people start to pay their credit card debt? Well, it means that there's going to be less money flowing out of the top. This is why this gets a little riskier. This is why the equity tranche is the riskiest of all. Because less money flows out, so only maybe the top 3 tiers get filled. These guys don't get filled, they're fresh out of luck. Equity guys don't get filled at all, they're totally fresh out. So this is the way that the securitization process works. Because even in a very bad economy, you still get a certain number of people paying their credit card receivables or credit card debt every month. It's very, very likely that the top couple of tiers of the capital structure will get paid, which is why they have the least risk and the highest credit rating. So, and that is the way that the securitization works. And that is how your credit card gets turned into a bond and can be traded just like a bond. If people want to be trading asset-backed securities, they can do that in the market just like any other bond. They can do that over the counter. And just like in the normal bond market, as the economy deteriorates, fewer people get paid. It's less likely that these or fewer people are paying. It's less likely that these glasses are going to get filled. Less likely that the bondholders are going to get paid. And that, if things get really bad, and no champagne comes out of the top of the bottle, and none of these glasses get filled, none of these investors get paid, that leaves everybody very badly needing a drink.